This Anthony Edwards build is an all-around menace. For this build, we're gonna be 6'4", 195 pounds with a 6'6" wingspan. So Anthony Edwards led the league in three-pointers made this year, so obviously we need to have really good shooting on this build. So we are going to have a 91 three-point shot, and then we're going to use our first 5 cap breakers here to get it up to a 96, which is going to give us all of these shooting badges on Hall of Fame, which is absolutely crazy because we're going to get crazy good finishing, crazy good playmaking, and defense on this build. But if you don't have any cap breakers, I'll have a version of this build for you guys at the end of the video that doesn't require any cap breakers. But before we get into more fun stuff, let's go over the physicals real quick. So we're going to have an 80 vertical, which is the requirement for gold posterizer. Then we'll also have a 73 strength to make sure we end up getting strong handle on gold, and we'll also get immovable enforcer on bronze. And then we're also going to have an 85 speed, and then we'll have an 85 agility to go along with that. I know you might be thinking an 85 speed and agility might be a tad bit too slow for an Anthony Edwards build, which is why we're going to be using the slice takeover, which will give us +7 to our speed and agility, plus driving dunk when we have our takeover. So we'll have a 92 speed and 92 agility with our takeover. So let's cover the driving dunk real quick, which is going to be at a 92 because obviously Anthony Edwards is an elite finisher at the rim. Now we're going to use one more cap breaker here to get it up to a 93, which is going to give us gold posterizer, and it's also going to make sure that we unlock pro contact dunks off one, and we're also going to get the small contact dunk package, which is very good. Now 2K Labs tested the posterizer badge. I know I mentioned this in a lot of videos, but they did find that having posterizer on gold is the sweet spot. Going up to Hall of Fame is a marginal difference. It's basically get gold, or if you're gonna go any higher, get legend, which I mean you need a 99 dunk for, which is not really viable on this build. Now for our driving layup, we're going to have a 75, which is going to make sure we get layup mix master on bronze. Now unfortunately you need an 84 driving layup to get Anthony Edwards driving layup animation, which I just wasn't able to justify getting on this build. But that's not going to make a huge difference since you have the high driving dunk. You're going to be going for dunks instead of layups instead. So I mean, if you really want that animation for some reason, you could get rid of some of the perimeter defense, which I just wouldn't recommend doing. It'll only make the build worse. But speaking of defense, Anthony Edwards is an absolute menace on defense. He is a complete nuisance. So we are going to have a 90 perimeter defense, and then we're going to use 2 more cap breakers here to get this up to a 92, which will get us these tier 1 defensive badges all on gold. And then we're going to combine that perimeter defense with a 79 steal, which is going to get us silver glove and silver interceptor. Now a lot of times with these smaller builds, people are going to see you and they're going to think they can just finish on you in the paint, and I don't want to get finished on. So I put a 70 interior defense on this build. So if someone's trying to take you to the rim, you're going to be able to get good contests on them. And unfortunately, you can't get a 68 block on this build, which is the requirement to get high flying denier on bronze. But we do have block at a 60. So at least your character doesn't look like a doofus trying to when you hit the block button. We are going to have a 90 ball handle because obviously Anthony Edwards is a great ball handler. He's able to create his own shots, but we're going to use our last 2 cap breakers here to get our ball handle up to a 92, which will make sure we have handles for days, strong handle, and unpluckable all on gold. And it unlocks all of the best dribble moves in the game besides Steve Francis, which is literally just like 2 dribble moves, I think. Now at a 93 rating, you do get ankle assassin on gold. So if that is a badge you really want to unlock, you could use your cap breaker you get from next season on this, but ankle assassin isn't the best badge in the game, but it's nice to have. Then we also are going to have an 86 speed with ball on this build, which makes sure we get lightning launch on gold. And then we're going to finish out the playmaking with a 78 pass accuracy, which is the requirement to get versatile visionary on bronze. And you'll also get dimer on silver. Now, I forgot to mention that this build does get a 40 standing dunk, just to make sure you get that standing dunk animation so you don't catch the ball under the rim and go up with a layup and look like a silly goo ball. Yeah, I don't know what a goo ball is, is. That's a word I've never said in my life, I don't think. But anyway, we're gonna finish out the build with a 60 offensive rebound, I believe. It actually goes up to 63, and then we'll put the last of our points into free throw here. And then this is the full Anthony Edwards build. Now let's go over a couple good takeovers you could use on this build. So as I mentioned before, the slice takeover is not only one of the best in the game, but one of the best to use on this build. And the reason for that is because it gives you a plus to your driving dunk, speed, and agility, which means when you have your takeover, you'll have a 99 driving dunk, a 92 speed, and 92 agility, which is absolutely cracked. If you want to take some deep range shots on this build, because you'll be able to with that Hall of Fame limitless range, you could use the satellite takeover. And this takeover does the same thing as the make it rain takeover by giving you a boost to your mid-range, 3-point shot, and speed. So you'll have a 99 3-point shot, you'll have the 88 midi, and the 92 speed still, but you're going to get the deep bomber takeover, which extends your shooting ability well beyond the 3-point line, which will let you hit logo 3-pointers when you have that takeover ability. So this is another really good one to use. But for all the people out there who don't have Capbreakers, let's cover that version of the build for you. So obviously we'll still be 6'4", but we're going to be changing the weight to 198 pounds, and we're going to have a 6'8" wingspan instead. So the physicals on this version of the build are going to be the exact same. Besides strength, you're going to get a 71 instead of a 73. I wanted to make sure we get a 71. That way we get bronze immovable enforcer on this build. But you will get the same dunking. You're going to get that 93 driving dunk. That way you can unlock all the contact dunks with the gold posterizer still. You're still going to be able to shoot lights out on this build. You're going to get a 93 3-point shot, which is enough to get you all of these shooting badges on gold. Unfortunately, since you don't have Capbreakers, you know, the build's not going to be quite as good. So you don't get that 96 3-point shot. You don't get all of the Hall of Fame shooting badges, but all the gold shooting badges is still very good. Now, unfortunately, the ball handle isn't going to be quite as good as well. You do get an 86 ball handle, which is very good still. You unlock a lot of really good animations. You do get all the ball handling badges on silver. Unfortunately, you don't get them on gold like the other version of the build, but you will get an 86 speed with ball still to make sure you get lightning launch on gold. And then the pass accuracy is the exact same. We got a 78 pass accuracy to make sure we get versatile visionary on bronze. And don't worry, even without Capbreakers, you'll be an elite defender. You'll get that 92 perimeter defense still, so you get all the tier 1 defensive badges on gold. And then we still get the 79 steal to make sure that we get silver glove and silver interceptor. And then we have the block maxed out at a 66. We have our offensive rebound up to a 60 to make sure we get that bronze rebound chaser. And unfortunately, the interior defense isn't going to be nearly as good as the version of the build with Capbreakers, but then we're going to finish off this build by having the 40 standing dunk. So for a shooting guard build that doesn't have any Capbreakers, it's still pretty good. Just obviously you can't get it to that crazy elite level that the Capbreaker builds are at. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of these builds in the comments. Let me know what build you want to see next, and make sure to click that subscribe button. Here's the web. Peace.